Chapter 1. How Robin Hood Became an Outlaw. There were special forests for the king's hunting in England during the reign of King Henry. Nobody could shoot deer there. One of the biggest forests was Sherwood Forest near the town of Nottingham. There lived a head forester with his wife and son Robin. Robin was a kind young boy. He liked to go with his father into the forest. His father taught him to shoot a long bow very well, and Robin's mother taught him how to read and write. But the boy was happiest when he had his favorite bow in his hand. His childhood passed by very quickly. Soon his family faced many troubles. Robin's father had two enemies, the Sheriff of Nottingham and the Bishop of Hereford. These two enemies did their best to send him to jail without guilt. 2 months after his father went to jail, Robin's mother died. Shortly afterward, his father died in jail. Robin was very sad. He missed his parents and the old days in the forest. 2 lonely years passed by. One morning, Robin decided to visit his uncle. "I have news for you, my boy," said his uncle. "What kind of news?" "There is a chance to practice your bow and win a gold prize. There will be an archery tournament in Nottingham, and the best bowman will win a golden arrow." After that, the sheriff looked at his daughter, but Robin did not look at her. I read the wrong page. Can we do it? Pardon. Chapter 1. How Robin Hood Became an Outlaw. There were special forests for the king's hunting in England during the reign of King Henry. Nobody could shoot deer there. One of the biggest forests was Sherwood Forest near the town of Nottingham. There lived a head forester with his wife and son Robin. Robin was a kind boy. He liked to go with his father into the forest. His father taught him to shoot a long bow very well, and Robin's mother taught him how to read and write. But the boy was happiest when he had his favorite bow in his hand. His childhood passed by very quickly. Soon his family faced many troubles. Robin's father had two enemies, the Sheriff of Nottingham and the Bishop of Hereford. These two enemies did their best to send him to jail without guilt. 2 months after his father went to jail, Robin's mother died. Shortly afterward, his father died in jail. Robin was very sad. He missed his parents and the old days in the forest. 2 lonely years passed by. One morning, Robin decided to visit his uncle. "I have news for you, my boy," said his uncle. "What kind of news?" "There is a chance to practice your bow and win a good prize. There will be an archery tournament in Nottingham, and the best bowman will win a golden arrow." "I want to try, uncle." "Of course, you have to try. This tournament is your lucky chance, my boy." Robin thanked his uncle for his good wishes and went away. He had to prepare his new arrows for the tournament. On the same day, Robin walked through the forest and stopped at the house of a poor widow. The widow was very kind to him in his childhood days. The old widow was very glad to see him. They had dinner and started to talk. "The rich took everything from us. We are poor. My 3 sons shot the king deer to get some food, and still they hide in the forest, and many men are hiding with them too. Where are they?" "I want to join them," said Robin. "My sons will visit me tonight. Stay here and see them if you want," said the widow. And Robin stayed there to see the widow's sons that night. He supported their ideas and decided to join their band in the forest. "But our band needs a smart leader, so we decided that an outlaw who can win the prize at the archery tournament shall be our leader," said one of the widow's sons. Good timing, because I started to prepare for the tournament. Nobody will stand between me and the prize, said Robin. If you win the golden arrow, you shall be the leader of outlaws in Sherwood Forest, said one of the sons. So Robin started to think about how he could secretly go to Nottingham. The sheriff had been trying to catch him for a long time. He even posted a reward of £200 for Robin, dead or alive. His hatred of the father passed on to the son. The great tournament started in the afternoon. 20 men tried to win the golden arrow. There was a poor man among them wearing a long hood. The rich and the poor waited for the beginning of the tournament. The sheriff, his wife, and daughter sat in the center of grandstand. The bishop stood next to the sheriff. On the other side, Robin saw a girl. It was Maid Marian, his childhood friend. Robin's heart jumped at once. Then the trumpet sounded loudly. At last the tournament began. The winner would get the golden arrow and choose the queen of the day. The bowmen started to shoot. The crowd screamed the whole time. Robin shot his arrows very well. The targets moved further and further from the bowmen. Robin looked at Maid Marian and she watched him too. He took his position carefully. Then he shot his arrow right to the center of the target, and he became the winner. The sheriff asked Robin to come closer to get the prize. "You shoot a bow very well. What is your name?" said the sheriff. "My name is Rob." Maid Marian smiled at Robin. "Well, take this golden arrow. You are the winner of this tournament." After that, the sheriff looked at his daughter, but Robin did not look at her. He took the arrow and went to the place where Maid Marian sat. "Lady, take this arrow from a poor man," said Robin. "Thank you, Robin in the Hood," answered Maid Marian. The crowd screamed, the queen of the day." The sheriff looked at Robin angrily. After some time, Robin went away quickly through the town gate. That evening, a group of men sat around the fire in the forest. Suddenly, they heard a noise behind them. They jumped to their feet and saw Robin among the trees. "My friends, you know that our band has no leader. Maybe this young man can be our leader. And he won the tournament today, so now he is our leader," said one of the widow's sons. The band supported Robin's leadership. "Robin in the Hood, as the lady called you. Now the golden arrow is in good hands, and I, Will Stuteley, will serve only you," said one of them. The band started to call their leader by the name of Robin Hood, and Robin liked his new name very much. He took the leader's horn and swore to protect the poor and harm no woman. And this is how Robin Hood became an outlaw. Chapter 2. How Robin Hood Met Little John. All that summer, Robin Hood and his men lived in Sherwood Forest. The men in green clothes helped poor people all the time. Soon, all the people in the land knew about their brave actions. Many men wanted to join Robin Hood and his band. That is why there were 40 men in the band at the end of the summer. One day, Robin went to the edge of the forest and stopped carefully. The road was clear. After some time, he came up to a long stream. There was a narrow bridge to cross the stream. At that moment, Robin saw a tall man on the other side of the stream, and they started to cross the small bridge on the stream together. They looked at each other angrily. "Give way," said Robin Hood. "No, I gave way only to a stronger man," answered the tall man. "Give way, or I shall show you a stronger man," cried Robin. "Then show him to me," said the tall man. "I will do it very soon," Just stay there till I take my cudgel. Robin lay his bow aside and took out his wooden cudgel. Then he came back and fight began. They fought for a long time. Both of them were strong and fast. Later, Robin jumped quickly and hit his enemy in the stomach. It was a lucky blow. Boom! But the tall man didn't fall. He kicked Robin, and Robin fell off the bridge into the water. And Robin saw many stars at that moment as he fell into the stream. His enemy laughed at him loudly. Robin sat up slowly. His head hurt very much. Then he took his horn and blew it 3 times. A minute later, there were many men dressed in green clothes. "What happened, Robin Hood?" asked Will Stutely. "This man did not let me cross the stream. Then we started to fight, and it was a good fight." "Yes, we fought well. What is your name?" asked the tall man. "I am Robin Hood, the outlaw," answered Robin. "Then I am so sorry for this fight. I wanted to find you and join your band." The 2 men laughed together. Then they clasped hands quickly. "And what is your name?" asked Robin. "My name is Little John." Robin looked at his big body and laughed. "Little?" They laughed together. "Join our band then, Little John. Just know that you have to serve us until your death," said Robin. "I will serve till the end of my life," answered the tall man. Can you shoot a bow, Little John?" asked Robin. "Of course." Then the band turned back into the forest. There they built a fire and had dinner. Robin Hood was very glad. Chapter 3. How Robin Hood Met Will Scarlet. One morning, Robin Hood and Little John walked through the forest. They came up to a stream to drink some water. It was a hot day. The road was very dusty. Robin Hood and Little John lay on their backs in the shade of a tree. Soon they heard some whistling on the road. Somebody was singing cheerfully. They lay still and listened carefully. Then they saw a young man in red clothes. My God, he is a real singer, but his body seems to be quite strong for a bow and a sword. "I tell you, the boy can fight very well," said Little John. "No, he is not a good fighter. Stay behind this bush and I will talk to him. Maybe he has some money," said Robin Hood. Robin Hood stepped forward and waited on the road. The young man in red walked slowly. At last he came up to Robin Hood. "Stop! Where are you going, young man?" asked Robin. "It does not matter where I am going now. And who are you?" "You do not need to know my name. If you have some pence or shillings in your purse, I must take them quickly then, because there are so many people who have no money at all." "You are a funny man. We must talk more. But I must be fast this morning," said the young man in red. "I said everything. Now stand still. I will take your purse," said Robin. "But I am not going to give you my purse. Please stand aside. I must go quickly." "Stop. We will fight, man to man," cried Robin. The young man in red looked at Robin from head to toe. He took his sword and looked at Robin seriously. They started to fight at once. The stranger was strong and smart. The fighters moved back and forth, right and left. There was a big cloud of dust on the road. After some time, Little John came out of the bush. Robin stood aside and looked at the stranger. "You are a good man. I will not fight with you any more," said Robin. The stranger looked at Robin Hood attentively. "Are you that famous outlaw, Robin Hood?" asked the stranger. "Yes, I am Robin Hood." "This fight was useless then. I wanted to find you today. "Do you know me?" "I am Will Gamewell," asked the stranger. "Ha! Will Gamewell. I did not recognize you. I did not see you for ages. My cousin. Why did you look for me, and did you hear anything about Maid Marian?" "Yes, we did not recognize each other. You have changed very much. You became an outlaw, and I want to join your band. I want to help the poor people and fight against the sheriff. As for Maid Marian, I saw her after the tournament. You gave her the golden arrow, and after that she became the sheriff's enemy. Now she is in Queen's Elno's court." "But Maid Marian did not forget about the happy days in the forest," answered Will. "You can join our band, Will, but you need to change your name." "Let me think for a minute." "Ah, you came to us in red clothes." "Will Scarlet," said Robin. "Welcome to our band, Will Scarlet," said Little John. Chapter 4. How Robin Hood Met Friar Tuck. One Sunday morning, Robin Hood took his bow and a few good arrows. He walked through the forest with a joyful heart. Soon he came to a green valley. There was a deep stream at the edge of the valley. Robin did not want to get wet, so he decided to rest on the bank. After some time, he heard a merry song from the other side. He saw a strong friar who wore a long cloak. The friar sat down by the stream with a big meat pie. He started eating his pie quickly. Robin saw a big sword under the friar's cloak. Robin went up to the friar as fast as he could. "Hey, friar, carry me over the stream or I will fight with you," said Robin. "Put down your bow, young man. I will carry you over the stream. We have to help each other," said the friar. The friar put aside his pie and sword. Then he took Robin Hood on his back and carried him to the other side. He did not say a word. Robin jumped off the friar's back quickly. "Thank you, friar," said Robin. "I see that you are a good man. I will pray for you. And now you have to carry me back." "No, friar, I do not want to get my feet wet. Besides, I am not as strong as you. Promise to carry me over the stream and I will not fight with you," said the friar. "Agreed," said Robin. Robin took the friar on his back. The friar was very heavy and Robin gasped like a horse. But he carried the friar to the other bank and released his heavy load at once. "Now you must carry me back again or I will cut your cloak," said Robin. "You are a smart man. That is why I will carry you over the stream again." So the friar took Robin on his back again. Suddenly the friar moved quickly and Robin fell into the stream. The friar ran to the other bank and looked at Robin cunningly. Robin was very angry. He took his bow and started to shoot one arrow after another. He shot all his arrows this way, but they did not hit the target. The friar laughed at Robin loudly. "Come here and I will beat you," said Robin. And the friar went into the stream. Then a big fight began. There were many strong blows. Sometimes they stopped to catch their breath and then continued to fight again. Finally, Robin stepped on a rolling stone and fell down into the stream. "My God, you are the strongest friar I met in my life. Stop. Please let me blow my horn 3 times, said Robin. "I will stop. You can blow now," said the friar. So Robin took out his horn and blew it 3 times. Soon many men in green came out of the forest, and that moment the friar whistled very loudly. A minute later there were many dogs on the other bank. They were barking very angrily. I never saw something like this in my life, cried Will Scarlet. Stop your dogs, Friar Tuck. It is Robin Hood, the outlaw, cried Little John. Robin Hood? Are you really that famous man? I did not know that. I would share my meat pie with you, said the friar. You know it was your pie that made me so angry. Now, come with us to the forest. We were looking for you. We really need you. We will build a house for you in Sherwood Forest. Will you join our band? Said Robin. I will join you, and I will go with you to the forest, answered Friar Tuck. Chapter 5. How Robin Hood helped Alan-a-Dale. A few days later, Robin walked through the forest with joy in his heart. At that moment, he did not want to fight. He lay in the shadow of a tree and listened to the birds. Later, he heard a sad song on the road. He waited to see the singer. At that moment, Robin remembered the merry song of Will Scarlet. Like Will, that young man was in red. He was a strong man with kind eyes. He seemed to be a strolling singer. He held a harp in his hand and sang loudly about his girl in the town. Robin went out on the road and stopped the singer in red. Do not cry so much, said Robin. What do you want from me? Asked the singer. Do not be afraid. I will not hurt you. Tell me your story. Maybe I can help you, said Robin. Nobody can help me, but I will tell you my story. I wanted to get married to one maid, but yesterday they took her from me. And today she will become an old knight's wife, and now I cannot live without her, said the singer. What? Does the maid love you? Asked Robin. Yes, she gave me a ring, and I kept it 7 long years, answered the singer. I am Robin Hood, and what is your name? Oh, then you can help me. I am Alan-a-Dale. Please give me back my love. I will serve you forever. When will they marry today? Asked Robin. This afternoon at 3 o'clock, answered Alan-a-Dale. Then we will go there, said Robin. The Bishop of Hereford was ready for the marriage of an old knight and a young woman. There were many men in the church. Later, the bishop saw a singer in green. It was Robin Hood. Robin Hood held Alan's harp in his hand. Who are you, young singer? And what are you doing here? Asked the bishop. I am a strolling singer, and I want to sing at this wedding. I can sing any song you like, a sad one or a merry one, answered Robin. Then welcome, my good singer. Sing well for us, said the bishop. Then the old knight came to the church. A young girl followed him. Her face was very white and sad. There were 2 young women with her. One held her long dress from the ground, and the other carried many flowers in her hands. This is the worst pair I have seen in my life. But do not be sad, young lady. There is another singer in the church. And you love him, said Robin. Silence, singer. Now play your music, said the bishop. And Robin Hood went forward. The lady looked at him gratefully. Robin took out his horn and blew it 3 times. Suddenly, 10 men ran up to him quickly from the back of the church. Alan-a-Dale stood in front of them. People, stand where you are. The bride shall choose her future husband. Now, bride, whom will you have to be your husband? Said Robin. The bride smiled gladly and took Alan-a-Dale by the hand. That is her true love. Now, my Lord Bishop, continue the ceremony, said Robin. I will not do that, said the bishop. That is not a problem. There is another friar in the back of this church. He can do a better ceremony than the Bishop of Hereford. Please, Friar Tuck, bless this pair, said Robin. Friar Tuck went forward. Alan and his maid stood next to him. Friar Tuck blessed them joyfully. Alan-a-Dale kissed his hand, made with so much happiness in his heart. And this is how Robin Hood helped Alan-a-Dale. Chapter 6. How Robin Hood met Maid Marian in Sherwood Forest. Some weeks passed after Alan-a-Dale's wedding. One bright morning Robin decided to go hunting. He walked among the trees with his long bow in his hand. He entered the valley and looked around carefully. He saw a deer just a step away from him. Suddenly, a fast arrow flew from the other side of the valley and killed the deer. Then a little page quickly ran up to the dying animal. Robin looked at him attentively. How dare you shoot the king's deer? Who are you? Asked Robin. I will not tell you my name, answered the little page. Then I have to teach you good manners, said Robin. Come and fight with me then, said the little page. They started to fight angrily. Robin noticed that the page was a good fighter. Nevertheless, Robin did not fight with all his power. Soon the page became tired and started to beat Robin very lightly. Can you tell me your name now? Asked Robin. I am Richard Partington, the page of Queen Eleanor. I am looking for Robin Hood, the outlaw. I have a message from the Queen. Do you know where I can find him? Said the little page. Robin Hood looked at the little page once again. Ah, I know you now. You are Maid Marian. I did not recognize you in this costume. I am Robin Hood, said Robin. Then they began to talk about their lives. They were walking to the camp slowly. She told him of his glory in London. The Queen wanted to see him and check his skill at the next tournament in London. She asked me to find you and deliver her message. She sent her gold ring to you as a sign of her protection, said Maid Marian. Robin took the ring and kissed it loyally. He decided to go to London and win the next tournament. Soon they reached the camp. Marian repeated her message from the Queen again. Everybody was happy to see her in Sherwood Forest. Robin and Marian talked and sang with the others by the fire. 4 men have to come with me. I choose Little John, Will Stuteley, Will Scarlet, and Alan-a-Dale. So get ready, my men. Wear your best clothes and take your newest arrows, said Robin. The next morning was very sunny. Everybody was ready for the adventure. They reached London without trouble. Then they went to the palace and waited for the Queen. At that moment, the king was away in another town to find his best bowmen for the tournament. After some time, the Queen came into the big hall. The Queen was surprised to see such brave and clean bowmen from Sherwood Forest. They knelt down before her slowly. "I am Robin Hood, your majesty, and these men are my best bowmen. We will protect your honor at the tournament," said Robin. "You are welcome, Robin Hood," said the queen. Then they drank and ate very well. The queen told them of the coming tournament in details. After that, Robin and his men told her about their funny adventures, and Alan-a-Dale sang many merry songs for the queen. Chapter 7. How Outlaws Shot the Tournament. The morning of the tournament was warm and bright. Every citizen of London was awake and waited for the tournament. First came the king's bowmen, the best in all the land. After them came the bowmen of other lands. All the people were talking about their favorite bowmen. Suddenly the gate opened wide. King Henry entered the arena. There were many merry screams for the people. Queen Eleanor rode next to the king. Lords and ladies followed them. The king and the queen sat down on 2 thrones. Then the bowmen entered the arena. A minute later, a messenger blew his trumpet and the tournament began. The first prize was a purse with 40 golden pounds. The second was a purse with 40 silver pennies. And the third was a silver trumpet. The king's bowmen started to shoot at the targets. Tippus, Clifton, and Gilbert shot all the targets and were the winners among the king's bowmen. The king was very pleased. "I will take your wager of 500 pounds. I found 5 men who can shoot against your bowmen," said the queen to the king. "Very good. I want to see them," said the king. The crowd watched the bowmen attentively. And now Gilbert led the shooting. The messenger came forward again and blew for a final shooting. The king's best bowmen had to shoot against the queen's 5 men. Nobody knew who these 5 men were. At that moment, the gate opened, and 5 men entered the arena. 4 of them were in green. The 5th one was in a red suit. The 5 men came up to the queen respectfully. The king turned to the queen. "Who are these men?" asked the king. "The men in red is Robin Hood. The others are Little John, Will Stutely, Will Scarlet, and Alan-a-Dale," answered the queen. "The outlaws from Sherwood Forest, am I right?" asked the king. "Yes, my lord, but you promised your amnesty today. Do not forget your promise." "I will keep my promise," said the king. The crowd screamed, "Robin Hood and his men!" Robin and his bowmen started to shoot against Gilbert, Tippus, and Clifton. All the people screamed and applauded loudly. There were 4 winners left in the last round: Robin Hood, Little John, Tippus, and Gilbert. Then Little John and Tippus failed. Robin and Gilbert were in the final round. Gilbert took his position and shot at the target. It was his best shot, but there was still a small place at the center of the target. Then Robin shot 3 times into the small place on the target, and his arrows were closer to the center than Gilbert's were. The king stood up in surprise. Then Robin took a very thin white arrow and shot it at the target again. Gilbert could not shoot at that thin arrow. It was too hard for him. Robin Hood won the tournament. The king stood up again. He was very angry. He did not say anything. He just went away. His sons and knights followed him. Then Robin Hood and his men went up to the queen. You served me very well. The king is angry, but do not be afraid. He kept his promise. Take these prizes and my wager. You won them honestly, and swear to protect all the poor men and women, said the queen. We swear, said the 5 men respectfully. Then the 5 men kissed the queen's hand and took their prizes. The crowd screamed with joy. Robin Hood and his men went away joyfully. That is how the great tournament ended, and every man tells this story to his son up until the present day. Chapter 8. How Robin Hood Met Sir Richard of the Lea. 1 year passed by. The king and the sheriff still could not catch the outlaws in Sherwood Forest. Many men joined Robin Hood. There were about 70 people in the band, and still they robbed the rich and helped the poor. Soon King Henry died, and Richard of the Lion Heart became the new king of England. After some time, the new king went to the Holy Land, and Prince John, the king's brother, ruled the country. He was a bad and greedy man. He robbed the poor people without mercy. One morning, Robin was walking along the edge of a small valley. The forest was still. Suddenly, a deer ran past him very quickly. A moment later, an arrow shot at the deer. Robin's hand did not move. He looked around carefully. Soon he saw a young page among the trees. It was Maid Marian. She came back again to the forest. At that moment the deer stood up angrily. Marian could not fight with her small sword against the angry deer. The deer rushed at her quickly. Robin shot his first arrow at the angry animal. The deer fell down next to the fainting Marian. Robin picked her up in his strong arms. A minute later, Maid Marian opened her eyes. She smiled at Robin joyfully. "Oh, Robin, it is you. You saved my life," said Marian. Then they walked to the camp. Marian told Robin about greedy Prince John and how he robbed her father's land. Robin listened to her very attentively. He was angry with Prince John. So that is how Maid Marian came back to Sherwood Forest and began to live with the outlaws. But there was another occurrence that day. Little John and Will Scarlet met a tall knight on the road and decided to rob him. Little John went up to the knight and asked him to stay still. "My master Robin Hood wants to have dinner with you today," said Little John. "I will go with you, my friends," said the knight. Soon Little John, Will Scarlet, and the knight came to the camp. "Welcome, Sir Knight. You came at a good time. We prepared our dinner," said Robin. "May God save you and your men, Robin Hood. I am glad to eat with you," said the knight. The knight sat down with Robin and his men. They started to eat joyfully. After dinner, the knight thanked Robin for the good food, but his "thank you" was not enough for Robin Hood. "You have to pay for this dinner," said Robin. "I have no money, Master Robin. Only 10 silver pennies, that is all," said the knight. "I see that your clothes are old. Once I saw you at the tournament in London. Tell me what happened to you," said Robin. "Yes, I saw you at the tournament too. My name is Sir Richard of the Lea. I lived in a castle. I was rich, but now I have no money. I have only my wife and son," answered the knight. "How did you lose your money?" asked Robin. My son is 20 years old. He is a good bowman, but once he shot a knight at a tournament accidentally, and I had to sell my lance to save my boy. I borrowed £400 from the Bishop of Hereford, and now I must pay my debt quickly, answered the knight. Robin turned to Marian and said a word in her ear. After that she talked to Little John and Will Scarlet quietly. Then Little John talked with the other outlaws and went away. Soon he came back with a bag of gold. Take these £400 from us and pay your debt to the bishop, said Robin. There were tears in Sir Richard's eyes. He thanked Robin Hood and his men. The knight was not sad any more. The next morning he mounted his horse and thanked Robin again. We shall wait for you within the year, and then you will repay us with money, said Robin. I shall repay you your money, my friends. The knight rode to Nottingham very joyfully. Chapter 9. How the Sheriff Held Another Tournament. The sheriff could not catch Robin Hood and his men at all. He decided to go to London town and tell Prince John about his troubles. Prince John listened to them with scorn. And what can I do with all this? You are the sheriff of Nottingham. Go away and think about how you can catch them, said Prince John. So the sheriff went back to Nottingham and started to think of a plan. He was very sad and angry. His daughter tried to help him. We can hold another archery tournament. We will promise amnesty and all the bowmen will shoot freely. And Robin Hood will come with his men again. I am sure of that, said the sheriff's daughter. The sheriff agreed it was a perfect plan. Soon everybody knew of the coming tournament. A golden arrow was ready for the winner. News of this came to Robin Hood quickly. Get ready for the tournament, my men, said Robin. Master, do not leave the forest. It is a trap, said Little John. I am not afraid. I will try my skill at this tournament. The sheriff will not catch us. We will dress differently. One shall wear white, another red, one yellow, another blue. We will go there, said Robin. His men supported his idea, made Marian and Friar Tuck prepared colored costumes for them. Soon the day of the tournament came. Robin and his men went to Nottingham with brave hearts. The sheriff's men looked around the whole time to find some bowmen in green, but with no luck. The messenger blew the trumpet and the tournament began. 4 men looked at the gates attentively. They were Little John, Will Stuteley, Will Scarlet, and Alan Dale. The first round finished. The sheriff was sorry that the outlaws were not at the tournament. The shooting went on, and Robin and his men shot very well. One screamed, "Blue jacket!" another brown, and the third red. The man in red was Robin Hood. The second and the third rounds finished quickly. During all these rounds, Robin and his bowmen did not talk to each other, and Robin won the tournament. He was very glad. The sheriff said his men to catch the winner in red. At that moment, the sheriff felt a strong blow to his head. He recognized Little John next to him. A minute later, the fight became larger. The outlaws were trying to run through the gates, but the fight still went on. The sheriff's men fought quite well. Suddenly, Little John fell down with a scream. An arrow shot at his knee. Robin took him on his back and ran quickly through the gates. Soon Robin and his men were back in their camp. Robin was very sad. Will Stutely and Maid Marian were missing. He felt some danger in his heart. Robin's men said nothing. They sat silently by the fire with their master. That evening the sheriff was very happy. He caught Will Stutely and wanted to hang him as soon as possible. He was talking of his success. At that moment, a fast arrow flew through a window and fell on his plate. It was the golden arrow with a little note which said, "This note is from one who will not take a gift from liars, and who will show no mercy. Be careful. R.H." Chapter 10. How Robin Hood Rescued Will Stutely. The next day was bright and sunny. The gates of Nottingham town were closed. The sheriff was going to hang Will Stutely that day. Nobody could enter that town the whole morning. Robin and his men were waiting on the edge of the forest. Robin was in red, and his bowmen wore bright green costumes. After some time, they saw a young priest on the road. Will Scarlet went out from the forest to talk to the priest and get some news of Nottingham town. "I ask your pardon, do they want to hang an outlaw today?" asked Will Scarlet. "Yes, they will hang him today, and I went away. I did not want to see the hanging," answered the priest. "But who will pray for the poor outlaw? Who else can do it? The bishop and his men will not pray for his soul, and your prayers can help his soul," said Will Scarlet. "You are right. I will pray for his soul. But how can I enter the town? The gates are closed. But I think I know the other way to the town on the far side," said the priest. "Thank you. Your idea is perfect. You and my friends can enter the town on the far side too," said Will Scarlet. So the men entered the town secretly on the other side of the western gate. Nobody noticed them. Every man stood in the central square and waited for the coming hanging. Soon Robin and his men saw Will Stutely between the rows of the sheriff's guards. Will Stutely looked to the right and to the left hopelessly. He did not see his friends among the villagers. He was very sad and scared. The sheriff stood up and looked around gladly. "Hang the outlaw!" cried the sheriff. The guard pushed Will Stutely into the gallows and tied a rope around his neck. At that moment a young priest stepped forward. "My lord sheriff, let me pray for his soul. It is wrong to hang him without a prayer," said the young priest. "All right, but do it very quickly," said the sheriff. The priest began to say his prayers quickly. Suddenly a tall man started to scream in the crowd. All of the people were looking left and right to see the screamer. At that moment, the priest released Will Stuteley and took his sword out of his cloak. The sheriff jumped to his feet angrily. A fight began at once. The sheriff's men tried to catch the outlaws, but there was no such result. Many of the villagers started to fight against the sheriff's men too. Robin and his men tried to reach the gate, but it was not that easy. At last, they went through the gate and began to run to the forest. The sheriff's bowmen shot at them from the town walls non-stop. Suddenly, one of the bowmen shot at Robin's hand, and the sheriff laughed at Robin loudly. Robin took his bow and shot at the sheriff's head. There was a big scratch on the sheriff's head, but he was alive. The next moment, Robin saw Maid Marian next to him. "Marian, you are here!" screamed Robin. "I had to come and help you, Robin, but we are in a trap," said Marian. "We will find the way, my dear," said Robin. A minute later, a tall knight was coming from the castle. Robin recognized him at once. It was Sir Richard of the Lee. He was smiling joyfully. Soon the outlaws were in the castle, safe and sound. The sheriff's men could not enter the castle. They cried angrily at the castle door and went away. That is how Robin Hood rescued Will Stuteley and met Sir Richard of the Lee again. Chapter 11. How Sir Richard of the Lee repaid his debt. "Open the gate, give me back the enemies of the king. I know they are hiding in your castle," cried the sheriff. "Who are you to come to my castle? They are hiding on my land. I am not afraid of you. You have no power on my lands. I will listen only to the king," answered Sir Richard of the Lee. "Then the king himself would punish you. King Richard returned last week from the Holy Land," said the sheriff. There was no answer. The sheriff waited a few minutes and went away. After that, the knight went to Robin and his men. He greeted them gladly. "Hello, my friends. So today I repaid my debt to you," said the knight. "You repaid all of your debt. Exactly 400 pounds, said Robin. Sir Richard smiled and invited the outlaws for dinner. At dinner, Robin and his men sat. Sir Richard's wife and son. The lady was a very kind woman, and the young son was a good bowman. The dinner was perfect. There were many men at long tables. They drank, ate, and sang many songs. The next day the outlaws went to Sherwood Forest, and the sheriff went to London to inform the king. He spoke to him about Robin Hood for a long time. The king listened to him very attentively. "I heard of Robin Hood and his men. I also heard of their power. Did they shoot in the tournament in London?" said the king. "Yes, your majesty, they shot under the Queen's amnesty," answered the sheriff. "I know that they came to the last tournament in Nottingham, and there was no amnesty. Am I right? Answer me," said the king. "Yes, your majesty, they came without amnesty," answered the sheriff. "And you call yourself a sheriff? Anyway, I will think about these outlaws. They should not forget the power of the king, said the king. So the sheriff went away and came back to Nottingham. Soon the king came with his knights to Sir Richard's castle. Sir Richard opened the gate and greeted the king respectfully. After that, Sir Richard told the king about Robin Hood and his men. The king liked his story very much. He asked many questions about Robin Hood and his adventures. I want to see this brave man. I will go to Sherwood Forest alone, and you will come on the second day, said the king. Agreed, your majesty, answered Sir Richard. Chapter 12. How King Richard Came to the Sherwood Forest. One rainy evening, Friar Tuck came back to his little house. There he prepared a hot wine and sat at a table. Suddenly he heard a voice outside. A stranger asked him to open the door. Who is it? Go on your way. I cannot do anything for you, said Friar Tuck. I got lost. It is so wet outside. Please open the door, said the stranger. Friar Tuck went forward to see his visitor. He saw a tall knight in a black cloak before him. His horse stood next to him. I ask you for good food and a warm bed for this night. My horse can stay at the back side of your house, said the knight. Sit down, Sir Knight. I will take care of your horse. My food and bed is yours this night, said Friar Tuck. And the knight entered the house quickly and sat at a small table near the fire. The priest shared his food and wine with the knight. The knight told him about his merry adventures. Soon they were laughing loudly as if they were the best of friends in the world. The time passed quickly, and the two men fell asleep near the fire. The next morning the knight woke up early and asked Friar Tuck many questions. Tell me, how can I find Robin Hood? I have a message for him from the king. I looked for him yesterday, but I could not find him, said the knight. I can show you his house, answered Friar Tuck. So they went into the forest. The day was very bright. The knight breathed the fresh air gladly. They walked about 4 miles, when suddenly a young man stepped into the road. It was Robin Hood. He recognized Friar Tuck at once, but he pretended not to know him at all. Stop, it is my road today. You have to pay for your entrance, said Robin. Who are you? Asked the king. I live in this forest with other men. We have no money, only priests and knights can help us, answered Robin. But we are the messengers of the king. His Majesty is near this forest and would like to talk to Robin Hood, said the king. God save the king. I am Robin Hood, and I am his best servant. I protect the poor all the time. I am glad to see you here. You are my friend now, said Robin. All right, now show us your house in the forest, said the king. So they went deep into the forest. Soon Robin took his horn out and blew it 3 times. After some time, many young men in green arrived. They carried their bows and arrows in their hands. The knight was very surprised at the scene. Then the dinner began. All the men were eating gladly. When the dinner was over, Robin turned to his guest. Now you will see how we live here. Then the men stood up and took their long bows into their hands. The knight was surprised at the small targets. Soon the shooting began. Little John shot first, then came Alan a Dale, and Will Stuteley. Each man shot very well. Robin Hood and his men screamed joyfully. At last Robin Hood started to shoot too. All his arrows hit right in the center of the targets. The knight was very surprised. "My God, I have never seen such good shooting in my life," said the king. Soon a horn sounded in the forest. The next moment there were many knights came. "It is Sir Richard of the Lee," screamed Robin. And it was true. Sir Richard came closer to the outlaws. He stopped in front of the Nile and knelt before him respectfully. "It is the king!" cried Will Stuteley. Robin and his men knelt slowly before the king. No, no. I need to. Chapter 13. How Robin Hood and Maid Marian got married. "Your Majesty, we will serve you for all of our days. We became outlaws because of the Sheriff of Nottingham. He is a very greedy man. Give us your protection and we will leave the forest. We will follow all of your orders," said Robin. "Swear that you, Robin Hood, and all your men will serve the king from this day," said Sir Richard. "We swear," answered the young men. "Stand up then. You are the best bowmen I have seen in my life." "I do not want you to live in the forest and shoot my deer. From this day on you will be my own bowmen. You will protect me and my lands." "So who is Little John?" said the king. "I am Little John," said Little John. "From this day you are the Sheriff of Nottingham," said the king. "I will be the best sheriff, your Majesty," answered Little John. "Who is Will Scarlet?" asked the king. Will Scarlet stepped forward. "Will Scarlet, I heard your story. You will resume your lands today and come to London. You are a noble man," said the king. "Thank you, your Majesty," answered Will Scarlet. "And who is Will Stuteley?" asked the king. Will Stuteley stepped forward quickly. "Will Stuteley, from this day on you are the chief of my bowmen," said the king. "I will be the best chief, your Majesty," answered Will Stuteley. "Who is Alan Dale?" asked the king. Alan Dale stepped forward. "Alan Dale, I heard your story too. You are a very good singer. Come to London with your wife and sing for me at the court," said the king. "Thank you very much. I am so glad to sing for you, your Majesty," answered Alan Dale. Then the king turned to Robin Hood. "Robin Hood, first you have to marry Maid Marian at once. I heard of your love. Marry Maid Marian if she wants," said the king. Maid Marian stepped forward gladly. "I want to marry Robin Hood, your Majesty," answered Maid Marian. Then the king talked to the other bowmen. Soon evening came. The knights and the bowmen ate and drank by the fire. and Eleanor Dale sang many merry songs that evening. It was a very happy night. The king and the bowmen slept in the open air under the stars. The next morning they went to Nottingham. First rode the king with all his tall knights. Then came Sir Richard of the Lee. After them came Robin Hood and Maid Marian. The other bowmen in green followed them. They stopped near the gates of Nottingham. "Open the gates, I am the King of England," said the king. The gates opened at once. Soon every man and woman came to see the king. They screamed, "The king caught Robin Hood and his men." The sheriff arrived very quickly. "Sir Sheriff, I came here. There will be no outlaws anymore, as all of them serve the king now, and Little John is the sheriff of Nottingham from this day," said the king. The sheriff said not a word. He was very angry with Robin Hood and his men. The king turned to the bishop angrily. "Lord Bishop, I heard of your bad actions, but I will talk about that later. But this afternoon you have to prepare the wedding ceremony for Robin Hood and Maid Marian," said the king. The bishop also did not say anything. He went away quickly to prepare the ceremony. In the afternoon, the church was full of merry people. There were many beautiful flowers and colored ribbons. Every man and woman was very glad. Friar Tuck stood next to the bishop. The bishop was speaking in Latin. After the ceremony, Robin and Marian passed through the portal as husband and wife. The bowmen threw golden pennies left and right joyfully. Then the biggest celebration in Nottingham began. And that is how Robin Hood and Marian started their married life. Chapter 14. How Robin Hood Met His Death. Now the story should end with the wedding of Robin Hood and Maid Marian. But not all stories end with "and they lived happily ever after." But we have to know how Robin Hood met his death many years later. So this is how it happened. A few months after the wedding, Robin Hood and his men fought against the Norman barons in England, and the king went to the Holy Land again. Robin Hood missed the fresh air of Sherwood Forest. He did not like living in a big city. After some time, Robin decided to travel to other countries. He took Marian with him, and together they went through many strange lands. Suddenly, Marian died of the plague. Robin was very sad. All the joy went out of his life. He traveled about the world for a few years more. Then he came back to London. But the king still did not come back from the Holy Land. And Prince John did not like Robin at all. He met him angrily. "Go back into your forest and kill some more deer. We do not need you here," said Prince John. Robin Hood was very angry and sad. He left the city and went to the forest. There Robin blew his horn again. Many bowmen joined him joyfully. They were very happy to see their master again. After that, they lived in the forest and waited for the time when King Richard would come back again. But King Richard did not come back. He met his death in the Holy Land, and greedy Prince John became the new king. Soon, Little John ran away from Nottingham and joined his band. The new king was very angry with the outlaws. He sent many knights into the forest to kill Robin Hood and his bowmen. But the knights could not kill the outlaws, and they ran away from Sherwood Forest. But Robin Hood had a serious wound after the fight. His power left him. One day he rode slowly and firm from his saddle. He was very ill. He walked slowly to the nearest house. A woman in black recognized Robin Hood at once. She invited him into her house and did her best to help him. Some say she was the sheriff's daughter and found her revenge at last. Anyway, Robin was very weak. He called for help, but there was no answer. He looked through the window at the green forest, but he was very weak and could not walk. Then he took out his horn and blew it 3 times. The sound of his horn was not loud. At that same moment, Little John walked by the edge of the forest and heard a far-off sound. He jumped to his feet and ran to the door of the house. Soon he saw his weak master on the floor. "Oh, my master, I think it was revenge. Let me burn this house," cried Little John. "No, my good friend, we have to forgive all our enemies. And you know that I cannot hurt a woman," said Robin. Robin Hood closed his eyes. Little John started to cry loudly. After some time, Robin opened his eyes weakly. "Lift me up, Little John. I want to smell the air from our forest again. Give me my bow and my long arrow. Dig my grave, where my arrow shall fall," said Robin Hood. And Robin Hood shot a bow out of the open window. Then he fell down on the floor. "That is all. Lay me under the tree, put my bow next to me, and sing a merry song for me," said Robin. That is how Robin Hood met his death. But his spirit lives through the centuries in the ballads and in the hearts of men who love freedom. His bowmen dug Robin's grave where his arrow fell, and this is what they wrote on the stone of his grave. "Here under the stone lies Robin Hood. He was the best bowman and outlaw, and England will never see his like again."